What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining me on this beautiful spring ahead uh, daylight savings times day on Sunday. Of course, we got a fantastic, wonderful, again, market going to be coming this week. It's going to be definitely a chop surprises. It's not going to be something that we're fairly much used to um, a couple months ago, right? We do have a couple earnings coming out here. I want to share this on this screen here. This is basically I get these from Earnings Whispers on their Twitter. They do a really good job kind of categorizing and putting the more popular stuff on the top, and kind of really, instead of just putting the ticker, they put the brand logo. So really big ones that really jump out at me is going to be FedEx. See how that's going to go with logistics business. There was a couple more that other Lennar is an important one to see on that as well. A lot of these other ones I'm not too familiar with and have the best understanding. We'll see how this one kind of kicks up as well with consumer product or consumer spending, and if they're less likely to go to the grocery store. They're going to be going to buy some of that Dole, so that could be a indicator there as well. Nothing too honestly substantially jumping out at me this week, on especially on these stocks here. This is not going to be a very big week on that front, but I can also share that link in the comments there. John, what's up, my buddy? We'll put that down below. Let's get rid of those. So the market's about to go. So here I'm on the East Coast. It's almost 6 p.m. So we'll see on how the futures open up. It doesn't really, honestly, the tick really doesn't matter too much to me. I just like to see in how the overall market kind of takes in the first hour or so, especially in the overnight market. Again, so the futures market is open up at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's again your Nasdaq, your gold, all those forward slash symbols that we follow between Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. We'll see how that's traded, especially on some news or anything that could potentially move the markets, and those will be open, and they'll be open in all night if you're not familiar with futures, and they'll close the coming 4 p.m. or no 4:30, 5 o'clock the following day, and they'll close for about 30 minutes. But let's just kind of see and wait and peruse here. It's we got a timer up here. We got about 90 seconds, a little bit, about 80 seconds left until the market opens up. We'll see on how everything has kind of been taken here. I have some key indicators here you can kind of look at here. They're mostly off the weekly chart, especially the weekly side, on some support levels here. If we do break below that 13,250-ish, that could be some damage. And that next level support really comes in around 12,730-ish. These are NASDAQ numbers. And that's what we're kind of looking at those particular time frames. So anyone who has a ruler or has more than 10 IQ can see that this is a very much a downward trending market here. It's not considered a chop yet. It is a very volatile market, because you can, again, how do we know it's volatile? Well, we have the fear gauge. We have the VIX, right? The VIX is the overall fear gauge. Let me put this back onto the daily chart here. Looks like the futures about to open about 15 seconds here, but yeah, the VIX has been grinding higher the past couple days, couple weeks, sorry, and has just been making very new highs just in the recent past memory, last year or something like that, which is quite intriguing to say the least. What's up, Bear? How you doing, my friend? Looks like they just opened up. We have the NASDAQ up about 0.5%. Nice. Again, that doesn't mean much of anything. This is literally the first, we kind of little shot up here. Looks like the VIX is coming down a little bit. NASDAQ's up. Again, this is the first minute, so anything can happen, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is, I'm not risking anything here. I'm just looking at on how the overall market's going to be treating this. And I never touch the 1 minute chart. It's a mistake for me. So looking at the overall trend, and like we discussed talking about like this downward trend that we're looking at here, and this is something that is, I wouldn't say concerning. We are, excuse me, oh, excuse me, oh, got some dust on my nose. Also, if a Spindrift is out there that wants to sponsor me, hit me up. I love your shit. It's the best flavored mineral water. So again, looking at this downward trend here, it's again very common here. What are we looking at for a potential bounce here? Would be around that 13,880-ish range to come up. Like we've been bouncing off, guess what? The 21 EMA. So the 21 EMA is on the bull side and the bear side. So if we do get a rally up, we have hit that mark a couple times already. So we hit that here, we hit it here, and hit it here. There were literally 2 consecutive days where this was above that particular trend. This is something to really to look out for, to see if we do rally up to this range. There could be a lot of people putting on shorts. Like the big boys and girls, they wait for a level to get kind of exhausted, and then they start putting more shorts on. They're not adding shorts down here at when it's down 1.5%, 2%, 3% on a day. Like that's very aggressive play. That's not very counterintuitive, to say the least, on that front. Let's see here. So what I'm really looking for, this interesting chart here. So if you're not familiar with a VWAP, which is like a volume metric that they use on basically a lot of day traders honestly use it, from my acknowledgement and just what I've seen. But there's this thing called an anchored VWAP, and I anchored it way back from the bottom of COVID, and we're coming into that level here on the NASDAQ. And that's when I was starting to take my I've been sitting on my hands, and then I kind of lift my big butt up and I free my hands, so I'm able to start maybe looking at purchasing things. I'm not purchasing very many options right now because with the volatility, like the only options I am purchasing are, I think I'm selling premium, because with the VIX being so high, that just gives you a little bit of extra oomph, and a little bit more what's the word? More strawberry jelly in that donut to squeeze out to that ooey gooiness to taste when the VIX is highly elevated like that. But it's very difficult to buy like directional. Like I'm just gonna buy straight QQ calls for next week. I wouldn't even buy weekly options, but like those kind of patterns like that, you're just gonna get slapped across the face because there's just so many unknown variables. It could be we got a war going on in Europe. Like it's anything from that standpoint is very risky to your overall portfolio or your investments going forth there. But I just want to be very mindful of those, like understanding of things have slightly changed a little bit. Kelly D, what's up, my friend? If you guys haven't already, I would appreciate a thumbs up. That everyone is good in the hood out there. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's been smacked around here, but it's Tesla's been holding that 795 range there, Kelly. So this is on a daily chart, but I've been looking more on a weekly chart. When the market's volatility is up so high, it's just best for my sanity and just for overall not making stupid ass mistakes and just putting money where it shouldn't happen, or just being emotional with it. I zoom out to the weekly chart, and the setting is it's a weekly chart and it's 3 years. So a weekly chart, so each of these bars is a week and it goes back 3 years. Like it's pretty crazy seeing Tesla basically at $35. Anywho, so this is a Fibonacci extensions here. So from the previous high to low to the new high, we're seeing some Fibonacci sequences here between the $890 and $794. So within that like little range that we've been kind of bouncing around for the past like month or so, a little bit more than a month, kind of bouncing in that range here. So We're also looking at, again, what is some other correlations that we can see here. We're seeing that the 55 EMA, again, on the weekly side, is coming in for some support. Have we seen this before? Yes, we have, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen it here. Slightly here, I wouldn't call that one a thing there, but definitely right here, that 55 EMA kind of came in. Guess what time frame that was? That was during the very bottom of the zombie apocalypse. I mean, COVID. So that is something to look out for. Like, are we in the same place that we were here in there? No, but there's also other variables to look at. Hey, interest rates are going higher. Money's going to be harder to borrow, and it's not going to be as free flowing with liquidity. There is a war going on. Inflation is fairly high in just the past 35, 40 years. It's at very high levels due to the fact of the stuff that we did 2 years ago and those kind of circumstances. So you have to kind of paint a picture. It doesn't mean like, oh, it's at the 55 EMA, I'm just going to buy straight calls. You have to understand the whole formula and the whole picture. You can't just look at it at a very slightly, just one single indicator that's going to help you do this. So the indicators that I'm really looking for is the Fibonacci sequence, nice. The 1272, that's a nice strong number, okay? 55 EMA, me likey that too. It's been holding here. It's kind of slightly consolidating. Some other factors I want to look at here, Kelly, is looking at volume, right? As volume, it's kind of been, it's just elevated due to the overall market, but it's not like increased selling. So I believe I have this chart. Where is that one? Yeah, this one here. So this one here kind of tells me a little bit. Let me put this to the weekly side. So this one tells me it's still in a little bit of a reddish trend. So blue means it's kind of going, potentially going higher. White means it's transitioning. Red means it's not doing well, and it's just kind of trending sideways to down. And that's where we're currently in. See, we can kind of zoom. If I blow this up here, you can kind of see here on the average volume on the weekly side. Again, it's been a lot of red, but it is not significantly higher than the average of the past 20 days. So 20 weeks. So that's a good indication there as well to kind of look at the overall picture. Again, it's not just one indicator that you just go for and you just throw your money at. It's something you have to really kind of build an understanding. And it's not just strictly the 55 EMA it's bouncing off of, or this Fibonacci sequence. It's a combination of all these factors that could potentially create a great trade or a great investment. So I think most people know here, Kelly. I know you know for sure, and Bear, that I am a Tesla bull. I'm sure Bear can give his 2 cents about what he thinks of Tesla, but I think it's at a pretty substantial point here. The thing is, I can't tell the future, right? Like, I don't have a crystal ball. If this does break, this 1272 extension, and it actually closes below this range, okay? So the fun fact here is on Friday, it closed at $795.35. The level, if it closed below, if I wanted to be a strict, I'm doing air quotes if you can't see, the 794.65, if it closed below that, if I was a true technician or chartist, I'd be like, Tesla, done. This zone is no longer acceptable. The next level of support is going to be around that 671, right? So it hasn't broken it yet, right? If it closes below this line, I'm going to have to be a little bit more hesitant on it. I'm going to be not as aggressive with it. I'm not going to be adding to it. I want to look for levels of support and consolidation here. So looking for this potentially to hold here over the next coming weeks here, and kind of looking for that level. Don't lose 792. Yeah, so yeah, we're looking at 794.65, which is the level that we're looking for. If that does break, we could see some potential further downside below 700 potentially. Again, that doesn't mean it has to happen. It doesn't mean it will happen. It's just some levels to look at, especially on the Fibonacci sequence. So I want to make sure that people are not like, oh, this is gospel, Ken saying Tesla's going to crash. I don't know what the hell Tesla's going to do. I just know that it's a fairly great company. They make a great product, and that there's a great, really intelligent person running the company. So that's some facts that you know about that and they could be opinions, honestly, but I consider them facts. Let's look at, looks like gold's pretty flat here. Nothing much to report there on gold. We have Bitcoin up nearly 1%. Nothing too much to talk about the Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin's coming down to a smooth landing. Bear said he forgot to return my crystal ball. I would like. Can you make sure you ship that via FedEx and make sure you wrap it up tightly? Bitcoin, not really too much to say here. I think it is at a pretty significant point of potentially adding to it. I have a thing on Coinbase where it just adds on every given week, I think. A couple bucks, a couple shekels here and there. Yeah, this is something that's going to be, it's trying to turn around. You can see here on the moving averages, just maybe trying to turn around there. Let's see what else is going to be kicking here. You got the NASDAQ, like we just talked about, is up a little bit more than 0.5%. So nothing too crazy there, but it's definitely something that has been, again, things can change overnight. It could be a single news article. It can be something being blown up and so forth. Yeah, I thought that there too, Kelly. Like, it very much looks like Tesla too, doesn't it? If we look at this, again, this is on a weekly chart. I'm not looking on the daily side, because daily side right now, it looks very much similar, but it's Bitcoin looks just a little bit more beat up because it's below the 55 EMA on the weekly side, which I'm not usually the world's largest fan of. So something that we could look at that everyone was talking about last week because of their split was Amazon, but Amazon's been in a shit sandwich for quite some time. It literally has done next to nothing since basically the run up after the first like couple months of the pandemic, because everyone was like, oh, they're gonna spend $1 billion, they're gonna lose money. No, this whole time they were just gaining more and more market share, understanding the consumer better, and just scaling up. Like I think if we didn't have this amazing like pullback here, I think this Amazon could still be around that 3,400 range and potentially building its way higher to potentially test that 4,000 plus range in its future. So some people could argue against me on that, but I think Amazon's going to be around for quite some more time. Just understanding the AWS model, understanding they basically lose money on their Amazon Prime subscription. So with the huge influx of literally running their own fleet of Amazon trucks. So that is something I'm not going to be betting against on Amazon. And plus, Jeff Bezos is out, so that's always a positive in my book. Not out, he's more or less out of the day-to-day stuff. He's too busy shooting his rockets and building his fantastic mega yacht. So he's got a lot of other problems to worry about. Another chart we can look at is Apple. Apple's actually been holding it very well. Last week was a little bit more red for Apple because if Apple comes down to like 150 and holds, I think that could be a potential level in the market where we could see some levels of support, because look at this. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of just selling. Like, just imagine the psychological pounding in your brain of just, and I you guys can speak for it as well. Like, there's so many people out there who are just like, oh, I give up on the market. It's took my lunch money. It's taken everything. It's just terrible. The market's a scam. And da 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 da. Whatever. The market's a beast. Like, it will crush your soul if you don't understand what could potentially what is happening, and the trends that you could see. And you have to be really ready for anything and be flexible on it. Like, and having the understanding of that flexibility, especially in the market like this. Sometimes it's just to be on the sidelines and just not have anything just risk on for anything, because you're really just going to get your head trimmed or even cut off and maybe just blown up, to be quite honest. And I know a lot of people who have been trying to just buy the dip like how they were in 2021. That's not the fact anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you can look here on the QQQ, like the tech sector, right? We talked about that 21 EMA multiple times. Yes, we had that terrible down market trend there, right? And then, hey, guess what? We're gonna print money. And then it was a nice ride up, pull back, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Oh, let's buy the dip. And it just, the roof just fell off. And you can really look at this a little bit more in detail, because you can see here, again, that 21 EMA was basically that line that everyone was looking for to kind of hold here. It's something that we could just really sink us lower here. And that's exactly what happened. Like, once that 21 EMA didn't hold, look at that large red candle. That is a pure sign of, like, people are like, oh shit, things have changed. And then they're trying to revert back and trying to figuring out, because at the same time, you saw the 8 EMA cross to the 21 EMA, which is also a sign of a trend change. So this is literally indicating a reset, and then you're looking for some consolidation or some kind of leveling off here. And you're not seeing that leveling off here. Especially with the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA, still aggressively pointing down. Again, we are looking at the weekly side. We can look at the daily side here. That kind of is still the same picture as you having these moving averages still aggressively pointing to the ground here. We're not seeing any kind of consolidation or potentially trying to stop the downward movement here. Yes, exactly. Like, Bear, I don't know if you were there at the beginning of the hour. Like, I think if we run up, especially in the QQs, to like 340 or like 342, I can see a lot of the investors or traders starting to short at that level, because guess what? We've failed at that level 3 times now. Could it be 4th time? Yeah, that would make logical sense, unless there is some kind of crazy headline of like, hey, we're going to put in $1.2 billion or $1.2 trillion in infrastructure in the United States, and we're going to get rid of student debt, whatever. Like, you have to understand the headlines. Like, that could just rip your face off if it goes that direction. And especially between the 21 and the 34 EMA. So that basically 348 to like 340 range, I potentially, if we kind of get stalled out of that range, there could be a lot of bears piling on at those levels to try to push us back lower and kind of keep us submissive to the downward market trend. And we're looking at, just give you some numbers here. So since this downward trend here, we're down about 22-ish, a little over 22%. That is considered into more of a correction rather than a pullback, especially in the NASDAQ. So it's not going to be the complete same, especially when we look at the SPY. I think it was substantially less. Let me see what the SPY was. The SPY was only 14%. So that's slightly in the market of a very tough pullback, but not correction. Like, the NASDAQ is definitely in correction mode due to the NASDAQ being what? High growth stocks, very large multiples, some companies that really shouldn't honestly be a company because they give guidance. Oh yeah, we're going to sell 100 trillion cars next month. Don't worry about it. Actually, we only made 700. We're fucked. And then it kind of falls apart. But that's a joke. But it's actually not a joke, to be quite honest with you. It is somewhat, there is some true in that irony there, and seeing that really large pullback. We could look at all these, like, do you remember this guy? Do you remember Virgin Galactic? Like, this thing was like a $60 stock. It has, look at that downward trend there. Look at that. That is nothing. We have, dare we talk about the Peloton? Look at this. Just disgusting. Like, these stocks will probably never see the light of day of this range again. It was just a perfect circumstances and just took off. Like, I wish I shorted Piton so much more, especially with this head and shoulders pattern. And if you're not familiar with like a head and shoulders pattern here, so this is basically the shoulder and this is the head here. So this is basically the neckline here. So we're looking for that to, I'm sorry, the shoulders here and then the neckline. If that broke that like $94 range, it was just downtown going down. And just look at that, like huge. Hey, we're not going to be making any more productions. We have too much inventory. What? And just crashes, right? Like it's insane. Like it's a slow staircase up and then just an elevator down. Just understand that. It's always harder on the upward trend and it's always quicker on the downward move. It's very true. Papa D, what's up, my buddy? How's your Zoom stuff going? Hopefully you haven't held on. That was the next one I was going to talk about. Piton. Zoom does actually have a good product. It actually does very well. This is something to. It's sad because it just ran up so much. It's just insane. Like I forget. Like there were like 100x their valuation or something like that. Like forward sales and like. Things don't last. Like I couldn't call the top, but this is darn close when you start getting that far away from the 8 EMA here on the weekly side. Like, and it wasn't just a straight collapse. It was a kind of like a couple bouncing down. But then we had some levels here if it broke here. I know Bear and I did go short on this a couple times here. I think it was around 250 or this range right here. I got short. Just a little bit, and I took a little bit of it here, like it was insane how fast, yeah. But insane, it's insane. Like I don't think Zoom will ever see $600 plus again, or nearly $600, yeah. David J, hello my friend, glad to have you live, calling and busy lately and disconnect. I know, I've pushed myself away from the market, like we just talked about. Like if you look at the cues. We've been selling the past like just negative news over the past like 5 weeks, and it hasn't been anything really productive to talk about. It's just like, hey, enjoy the time with the family, just take a break, read a good book, watch some good TV, whatever. Exactly, Bear Rivian. You got it. Roger JV is asking for apps. AAPS. What is it? You're talking Apple? AAPL, right? But we did talk about Apple here a little bit, especially looking on the weekly side. We are looking for especially this 150 to 149 range to hold here. It did pull back quite substantially this week. It was the larger red day that we've seen in a while, especially on Apple being the largest company in the world. This is something to keep in mind about. And we have seen it come to the 34 EMA on the weekly side before, but we never actually saw it close below it. So I'm a little worrisome about that. And you have to kind of keep that in mind. If we kind of go to the daily chart, which most people kind of look at, we're coming into that level around 154, 155. If it doesn't bounce here, really going back to the weekly chart, it could be considering more downside or just kind of very high volatility and chop in those two markets there. Papa D's asking, I'm heavy in Greenditch. What is that? What's the ticker for that, Papa? In this crowd about to get rejected again, potential short. What up, Rick? Yeah, I've been watching this one. So, Greg, so when you look at these, are you looking at the daily chart, the weekly chart, and are you buying the stock in it, or are you looking at options? I don't know if you were there in the beginning there, Greg, but I've been really just kind of just being mostly into stock rather than options. And if I am in options, I'm looking at basically just selling premium and doing very small size because it is a very tough market, especially being directional with options because unless you're doing very short-term like intraday trading, it's very much a coin flip because the market's up 1%, down 1%, all this kind of stuff. And it's just something, it's just a pain in the ass, if you just be honest with you. With Crowd, let's be honest here, CrowdStrike, phenomenal company in my opinion. A market leader in the industry of like cyber and cloud protective security, especially with the amount of stuff that's happening in the world. We're having a huge influx of just cyber attacks, all this kind of stuff. It's very tough. So honestly, Greg, with options, you're gonna have to play it like super tight. It's hard for me to maybe sell some puts if it does come back on like a red day, and maybe see if it holds around 167 here on the weekly side. Let me do a Fibonacci extension for you here real fast, sir. So yeah, 1272. So this is interesting. So the 193.57 is a level that we could see a potential rip here. The thing that I do like, honestly, here also, Greg, this is something that I want to see. The 8 EMA and the 34 EMA, the 21 EMA are starting to level off. Like they're not going down like the overall NASDAQ and everything. So this could be potentially trying to bottom here. We have been trading fairly tight here over, again, the weekly side over the past almost 2 months here. So that 164 range has been that level of somewhat of support. So I would be safe. We're behind on earnings. I think that I'm definitely could be looking at selling some premium. I'm not sure on what the market looks like. So I can open up my Tastyworks here and look at some options with you. If you're selling premium, you have to go at least 35 to 40 days out. So I'm going to look at the May and just look at the liquidity. Yeah, I was fearful about that. So there's not too much open interest. There looks like, oh, look at that open interest at the 125. I bet you someone bought a boatload at that, was at a price. Let's see here. Got some snow melting, falling off the thing. Let's go to the day. Oh, 12-hour daily. Tastyworks is always kind of slow to kind of get this data here. Come on. There it goes. Yeah, they bought it on, oh, January 11th. January 11th. Huh, that's interesting. January 11th. So they must have bought it January 11th. Oh, wow. So they bought it basically this point right here. That's interesting. So they could have, like, that's interesting to see that. To see how they're looking forward to potentially bottom here. But yeah, interesting. I do like it, actually. Thank you for bringing it back to my attention. I've kind of been looking to get into this, so I'm going to write this one down on my watch list for Crowd. So thank you, Greg. Papa D is asking for, GREE. But these are the scary ones I don't like. Like, this is just kind of downward trending for me, honestly, Papa D, and it's not really seeing any kind of movement here. Looking on the daily side, these super crazy large moves here scare the hell out of me. It turns me into Casper here. I'm the friendly ghost here and just kind of wants to go. I don't know where I'm going with that. But looking at these levels here, look at this 21 EMA here on the daily side. These are still trending lower here. These are just, if I draw some basic lines here, it needs to break out of this trend and have some kind of consolidation and kind of kick higher, because this is not too much I can speak about. And I wouldn't personally be looking at this unless you had some other knowledge of that. David says, you're so true, Ken. I honestly love how reliable and awesome you are, my man. Thank you. I took a break from the market and I needed to relax. I made some huge profits from Tesla and I feel so blessed. David, you nailed the hammer on the head, that because you guys got to take some time off, reset, so forth. Let's see. I've been using my profits to support the family. Nice. I've been paying my mom's medical bills as well as supporting my girlfriend and her sisters from medical and dental school. It's truly a blessed year. David, Godspeed to you. That's awesome. Ryan, what's up, dude? Yeah, Tesla. Toyota Motors. What happened there? Did they like announce like one of the praises blew up or something like that, or what happened here? That's insane. Or I'm guessing they might have talked about some supply chain issues. I don't know, but that is a crazy move there. That is insane. We are coming down to that 155 range, which we saw basically a year ago on that pullback there. I'm going to zoom out to the further weekly side. We're coming in right to this 144 EMA on the weekly side. That is something pretty insane. Toyota had a lot of... How many factories do they have in Russia? And they got hit by a cyber attack. Fudge. That sucks. Ugh. That's not cool. I like it out here, honestly. It's always hard to buy it down when it just drops down like that, honestly. It's exactly. I was gonna say, yeah, they probably print money. Like their trucks are fantastic. I hear everyone just talking. They love their trucks. The Toyota Tacoma and Tundra. Technically speaking, I want to see a little bit more levels of support here. It is a very dramatic knife drop. I know you know this, Ryan, but I know how you also like to play more risk on than I would like for my comfort levels. But this level, basically 155, would be a very key level of support because that was resistance before. As you can see here, it was resistance there, and now it's potentially could come into support there. So all the people who were buying on this breakout here and kicked up higher, they are potentially holding at this level or they're selling at this level. So you have to understand, look at that volume, all that volume that occurred around that time frame. Most of those people are potentially going to be long. If they didn't sell up here, they're going to be potentially selling here and trying to break even. It's definitely something could be a nice little bit longer term investment for sure. A lot of manufacturers are getting hit, right? With cyber attacks or just overall with the supply chains? It does have a dividend of, what is it? Oh, wow. A $2 dividend on a $160 stock? Wow. That's insane. Case Law is looking for Netflix. Man, Netflix raising their prices. We got Bill Ackman that bought in like a month or 2 months ago. David J, thanks, man. I appreciate the $10. Buy me a nice coffee and a bagel. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Glad you get something out of the live stream. I do it for myself, to be quite honest, and anyone else who wants to listen, they can listen, right? So Netflix, yeah, when did Bill Ackman bought in around like the 400 range, I believe, or right below 400, and now it's just kind of breaking lower. Like this, what is the fall from here? 700 to the current price of last week. This thing has dropped 51%. Wow, that's insane. That is crazy. I guess Netflix doesn't have to do a stock split because their stock's just dropping. That's kind of mean, but that is something. Yikes! I didn't know it got down that low. So 330. Let me see if I can do. I might have to do a longer term chart here. Let's see if I can do. It's not gonna work. If I can do the fib extension here. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, so it's coming at some interesting levels. That is Case Law. So it definitely failed here at the 418, almost 420, if you know what I mean. It's coming into that 341 level, which is also another significant level if it does break lower here, which it looks like it wants to try to. I don't, did the prices increase already go in? I think most people looking at potentially going lower here. I mean, the price is going higher, and like, I'm sure they did the math behind it, and they might get like 1% or 1.3% slippage on it, um, meaning on how many people want to leave actually. But that's insane. Like, and if you haven't already, like, my favorite show right now on Netflix is Drive to Survive, the Formula One, like, behind the scenes stuff. Oh, I love that show. But it is insane to see that drop right there. I wouldn't want to touch this yet because it's very much not in a very strong support level, honestly. There, Costco, Ryan, yes, you know I love me some Costco. I think this is a super strong stock. You can kind of see here the small fib that I kind of looked at here. I'm looking for a break above 532 or 550 here. But this is just a longer term hold for me, and I really have to like zoom out to the max here. It is very highly elevated right now. And I'm a little worried by that, on how much we've seen it run up here, but it's been good to me. I wish they would kind of kick up the dividend a little bit more and maybe talk about some more purchasing buybacks. They haven't raised the dividend that much. Yeah, they did it 79 to 70. It wasn't like, I don't have like hundreds of shares of this, so it's nothing like crazy on it. I think I'm almost at 100 shares where I can start selling calls against it, which will help create some of that more of a like a monthly income. What is yeah, that's gonna be nice. Once that kind of kicks in, I have to start. I think I have to buy maybe 15 or 20 more shares before I get to that level. But yeah. Uh, Finally made it to the stream, says USA. I've only been streaming for about 37 minutes, probably, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, covered call, like, that's the, it's not, it's very hard, like, for people to understand what covered call is, really, honestly, sometimes, Ryan. Like, people just think it's, like, free money, but you have to kind of, you have to watch it, unless you're, like, literally, like, for Costco, if you're going in here and you're, like, selling, like, the 720 or $700 call, okay, you're getting maybe $10 from that, but you have to be a little bit more strategic and maybe looking at maybe, which actually like Tastyworks better for this. So if I go to, let's just go like Disney, because I had 100 shares of Disney, and I was looking at say like a month out, like you can see the volume is there, and especially in Tastyworks, they show you the blue line there, which is like the standard deviation stuff. So that's really important. So if I had like 100 shares of Disney, which is not really that much now, it's only like $13,000. You could sell like the 145 and get maybe $1.50, like $150. Like that's not much compared to what your overall position is, but that's month over month, and and you can just take that rest of it. If let's say I make 150, that's another share I can buy of Disney, and that's how you kind of make the snowball get bigger. Like let's just, if you just hold stocks you love and just go like that, yeah. AMD, yes, yeah. AMD, Nvidia, I love. They are not in the world's best place. I do think that it is the future. Let's be honest here, right? Especially with AMD here, we have this blue line here, as you can kind of see it here. I don't like the trends the best here, but this is definitely, it hit here, and it's potentially going to be hitting here as well. I like the pattern kind of setting up here. The only thing I'm a little bit worrisome about, if this double bottom doesn't hold here, we definitely could see a breakdown lower here. We're looking again between the 8 and 21 EMA that's crossing, and the 8 EMA on the weekly side starting to go lower here. So we kind of need this to kind of like buffer back up. And maybe it's just in consolidation mode because, again, this stock was almost 165 or 165, almost 170 here. Now it's back down to basically it dropped about $60 in the matter of like a couple months. So that's a pretty substantial move, pullback again. Again, if you're looking at like corrections, so forth, like this thing has dropped nearly 40% in that time frame. So that's just something to kind of keep in line there. But I like it, especially with Nvidia. These are the stocks that I want to be adding to. Like Nvidia is definitely something I added to on Friday when my alert went off when I hit the 155 or the 55 EMA here. I added to it. Like if it goes lower here, actually I need to reset the track here. I can get rid of those up there. I'm looking for basically this right here, 1205 below. So those are the levels I'm going to be looking at to kind of look at those levels of support there. US Care is asking for Alibaba. Yeah, that thing isn't the overall fear. Lisa Sue bulls for sure. You can see here I've gotten so many requests for this on Discord and so forth that you can see all the lines I've kind of drawn here. This thing, this is a no man's zone, right? This is a downward trend if you've ever seen it, and I do not want to catch a falling knife here. Because this, I know people are like, oh, what's the worst that can do it? Well, like it can go to zero, bro. Like it can. Like I don't think it will go to zero, but there is no, I can't tell you technically speaking here that there is any kind of level here of support because it's just continuously getting crushed here. We're breaking. We closed below the IPO price of way back when in like 2015. Okay, like the next level of support is really going to be looking around the 69, 69 to 65, and then potentially that low of $57. Like there's not really too much more I can say there. Like the implied volatility is through the roof here, meaning that this thing is just so crazily just not even like linked or correlated to anything. It is just a falling knife. There is no life in it. Like you're seeing a little bit of bounces here on the daily chart here, but if you zoom out to the overall weekly chart trend, like this thing is just terrible. If it does get a bounce, we've kind of come up to the 21 EMA every once in a while, but we never broke past it. Like this has to be due to the fear of the delisting potentially of Chinese stocks. So whatever else, like, right, slowing down the economy, whatever. I don't know, cost of labor. I don't know the reason why. I don't think anyone really knows the true reason why. They can speculate on it, but you look at the literally the price of it, and it's a downward trend. Andy, what's up, my friend? Thank you. I missed you guys. I missed you as well, my friend. Yes, I've taken a break from the market. I've been on the Discord on a daily basis, but I haven't been doing too much of the YouTube just because of the crazy volatility. It's been kind of taking a break for a bit. What do you think about Exxon and or MRO? So we're gonna look at some oil stocks. So I was super large into XLE. I think a couple of the people followed me, and I sold a lot of it at 75. I wanted to add more when I bought at 73, and the last 25% I have left, I'm going to see if it breaks 81. But I don't know if it's going to happen on that front. But XOM, which is Exxon, which is part of the XLE, same kind of pattern here. Again, on the weekly side, we are breaking out to potentially new all-time highs. Very large candle here. Again, if anyone who drives a gas car or anything has turned on the news or turned on their phone, everyone's talking about gas prices. $4.50, $5, $6, $8 in some places here. That is definitely represented here, especially on the gas stocks here. Seeing that potentially coming up here. So this level of support here is basically around $83 to potentially the $80 to $78 is going to be stronger support in my opinion if we do come to those ranges there. Usually kind of correlate myself to one of those EMAs. Same with Marathon. This thing is, wow, that's doing much better. Yes, that's the 1272. Okay. So this thing has definitely broken out much more than those other two ones because it has broken past the previous high that happened 3 years ago, and it has actually taken on a lot more. So this thing is a little bit of a stronger trend. It looks like, why is there no numbers on earnings here? That's weird. Thinkorswim for the fail again. Make an all-time high last week. Yes, if this continue wants to go, we need to stay above $23.23. Yeah, yeah. My XLE were maybe up. They weren't up as that much, but I had longer. I had like 6 months and then like leaps on XLE, and at best, I think they were up maybe 300 to 400%. But when you have 15 to 20 of those, that makes up a nice little cha-ching there. Yeah, I think the overall like large like the surprise gap up or not gap up, the surprise volatility increase is definitely something that really helped those options up. Paul, CPSH, I have no idea what this is. Yeah, this looks quite nasty here. It's very much like Papa D's stock. It's very much kind of just trending lower here and not really seeing much of anything kind of come through here. Sadly, this huge spike up here really kind of scared a lot of people away, most likely. And this is something I want to be very worrisome about. Great one, Ryan, HPQ. This is like the printing business or whatever this side. This looks really strong here, actually. Let me update this here. I wanted to add, you can see here, I wanted to add it here when it pulled back to the 618 here. I should have added it or should have bought into it around $27.96 here, but I didn't. I had probably a lot of other things on my mind, but that was a nice little run here from the 27 to like $36. It would have been a nice little return there. Kind of resetting on this one. We're going to do a swing high and a swing low here on the weekly side. Oh, come on. Yeah. Coming into that level here, we went to an all-time high here. Looking at that level at basically $35 to $33, potentially kind of looking up of levels of support here and maybe making its way back to $39. But we need to kind of see this consolidate here and kind of compact back down to see before it can spring up here. Looking for Twitter, TWTR. This one very much kind of broken down here as well. What levels do I have here? Let me reset this. So the swing high to swing low, we're probably looking at, yeah, the 23.6 percentile move. Looking at that level to potentially hold, we are starting to see the 8 EMA slightly start curving here a little bit. That doesn't mean it's gonna like stop here at that 34 level, but that is a level that we could look at maybe for some support here. We can also at the same time do an extension here on that same level of charts here. So we'll see if we get any kind of correlation here. We're looking at the 618. So $38-ish, man, nothing too much correlating there if it does pop up here, looking at those two ranges there. But like Twitter's definitely somewhat beat down here. But again, this is on the weekly chart, so this takes a little bit more longer to kind of show on the charts to show that levels of leveling off here. PLD here, we're here. Oh, whoa. That's a beautiful looking chart here. Yeah, this is probably someone that people are buying the dip here. You can see here it's actually holding the 34 EMA here. Well, there's all the 21 here, but held here, held here. Nice consolidation right here. Pfft, beautiful looking chart. And just kicked higher here. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah, if it holds around 143.36, we definitely could see something kind of bounce here. It looks like it has earnings already behind, but it has, again, it's on the weekly side, so just be mindful about that. But yeah, I have no idea. What does this company do? Is a real estate investment trust. Oh, it's a REIT. Oh, interesting. The research team at Thinkorswim and TheStreet.com think it's a buy. Interesting. I never pay attention to those. I really don't care what they think or say. But it's something to look for. Let's see here. What was another one that I wanted to look at? AZN. No, it wasn't this one. Was it Dow? No. This is the one. I was looking at Dow Chemical. So if we look at this one, we go to 10-year max. This is actually newer, isn't it? This is the one that's split into this. If this pulls into the 618, yeah, 618 right here, and it's hitting the $60 range. So I know this is kind of boring. No one really cares about Dow Inc. So Dow Inc. is basically a company that's a subsidiary of all different kinds of chemicals and plastics and things like that. This is something that you just kind of want to hold and kind of just have it as a dividend holding and just kind of a core holding, because again, it's just something more on the safer side. But this is something that I like to look at because I want to build into this. The $60 price range is what I would be looking at. Potentially even coming back down to $56. It can come down to $52. That's what I would really like to buy it actually. But I don't know if I'll have that opportunity again in the next coming weeks. If I do, that's what I want to add to it, because again, it's building up a nice squeeze here. Volume's kind of picking up here. You can see here on the average, it's been a little bit above average for the past 20 days here, and we can potentially see a rip higher here back up to the $70 plus. If we do get a very strong rip higher, especially on the weekly chart here, we can see this one pop up to $71, even make its way to back to around 80, not back, to up to the $84 range level if we do see a very significant movement in that stock here. So I need to write, I had that written down on a different sheet of paper, which I think it got tossed somehow. So Dow for sure. Another one, RSX, is that the Russian? Yeah. Did this thing already stop trading or was halted, Ryan? I can't remember. Like, this is people talking about sanctions and not working. Just look at this. Like, this is literally have just taken out the ETF in Russia. Like, insane, right? This is just like, goodbye, delete. Everything has just been completely removed. This is insane. Like, this is broken past the COVID low. This is just disgusting. This ETF is probably completely destroyed, and it's just not, it's illiquid right now. It's still halted, yeah. No one's touching that with a 10-foot pole. Hood, same kind of thing. Very popular stock at the time, and it's now just kind of trending lower, lower, and lower, and lower. Potentially maybe finding a bottom here. Let me look on the daily side here. It's just kind of holding around that $11 to $10 range, and it just needs some kind of excitement, honestly, to kind of see it pop up higher. Hood is definitely very rough. It's not good in the hood. It is rough in the hood, especially for Robinhood. And just who was it? Was it Jon Stewart? Jon Stewart did an excellent piece about the GameStop and like AMC short squeeze stuff. And at the same time, he was like interviewing like I think it was the commissioner of the SEC. I think it was the commissioner. It's basically just like, yo, what is this BS with pay for order flow? Like, this is insane. Yeah, Russia. If I, the sad thing is there's innocent people in Russia that are getting hurt by this, who are definitely didn't want to be a part of the war, and sadly they're just caught in the crossfire. And they're imagine trying to retire this year, and you're like, oh, I got my nice little nest egg, and then this happens, and then you wake up Monday morning, and the Russian ruble is down 40% in a week. Like the retirement you had, I don't know, $1 million in your retirement account, it is literally just vanished. Like that is insane, insane. It's hard to believe that. Let's take a look at GME. Nothing too really much to report there. We'll see on. Oh, it does have earnings this week. You're saying, huh? The 17th. GameStop. Pfft, insane one. Insane. Wow. I don't even know what to say with that one. Crazy moves there. It's coming down to maybe some double support here, but if it does break lower here, especially with earnings, this could be very sad. AAL, American Airlines. I'm done with these bullshit airline companies. I'm sick and tired of this. Um, their shenanigans. Um, I really was. If you remember, I was in Jets ETF for the recovery, and I made a couple shekels off of it. But I basically kind of broke even on it because I kind of this double top here. I thought it was going to be a breakout zone, and it just faded on me. And then I didn't able to cut until I got to like the sub 20s, and it was just a stupid mistake. Stupid mistake. But everyone makes them. But glad I got out of it before it got down to this range. Um, the Jets. So this I was in Jets or something like that. Yeah, this is the yeah. I thought this was gonna break out back to 27, and I got into like I got out around 22 to 20ish range. Yeah, airline stocks are. Let's be honest here. Like they gotta bail out those bastards, even though hungry whores that they are. But yeah, I don't have anything really good to say about airline stocks. So I usually like to keep emotions out of it, but not with airline stocks. I still got a small little chip on my shoulder with them. But yeah, internet service providers as well. Yes. Baron Madoff business model. Exactly. Because did you watch it too? I didn't know Barry Madoff created the pay for order flows. Like that's insane, right? That was not a joke. Like they were like, no, he did a Ponzi scheme, and he also at the same time created for pay for order flows. Like, and it's still not really. It's not regulated, right? Like it's insane. It's insane stuff with dark pools and everything. And I think most people know what dark pools are at this point, due to trading bots and then the high frequency trading pools and these secret behind the door stuff. Anyways, on that, a cat. Let's look at cat. Yes, cat's another one that could be a nice play here. Yeah, this one has been a choppy one. It's been a little too choppy for me with this. It just kind of just too emotional. It's just like tied to the market. It's kind of just whipsawing you up, down, left, right kind of scenario. Um, this level support, if it does fall back down, is 185, which is actually a nice key level support on the weekly side, because we have been just kind of consolidating here and coming back on that level multiple times. At the same time, we've not really seen it break out and stay above like that 220, sorry, 212, for more than a couple weeks. So at the same time, it's just kind of been chop zone in between those two levels there until we start seeing some a positive notion in either direction to kind of see it really kind of show where it wants to go with the trend. Because again, it just kind of just bouncing around up, down, left, right. Yeah, I like Google, and I think were you in the chat where I was like, I want to add to Google. Now, like Google, they're doing a 1 for 12 or 20. Yeah. So I want to be able to sell options on it. So that's going to be great. I like that. That's smart. Love you for that. Thank you, Google. Definitely something I wanted to look for in those two ranges here. Google, that one, the 55 EMA on the weekly side, I really like it here around 2,500-ish range. So that's what I'm going to be looking for there. Handle, Alpaca, what's up, my friend? Yeah, PLTR. It's starting to kind of level off here, honestly. So this is good here. We're seeing the 8 EMA, 21 EMA slowly not being that very like 45 downward angle. But yeah, PLTR, it's still very much beaten down here. It just needs to kind of find some more support here before it can kind of rip higher and even have a chance to really get back into where it was. Yeah, Northrop Grumman's doing just fine due to the influx of. They're going to do very well. How much are we spending? Like billions, even trillions, I think we're sending to Ukraine. I don't even know what we're doing. Yeah, between them, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, all these companies. Like, what was it? Was it RTX? Yeah, kind of coming up here, potentially looking for Raytheon to stay above 100 and kind of breaking out that leg there. Same with NOC. Again, potentially, huge boost up here. Just let's go on the daily side. When did Putin invade? Probably like the end of February, right, or the beginning of March. Like, look how fast that popped up, basically from 396 all the way up to like 460 in just a matter of like a couple days here. Very, very insane, the membrane here. Potentially maybe a little overdue pop here, coming back down maybe to the 21 EMA here around like 427, 430, and maybe getting a little of a bounce play back up to maybe this 460 range. I don't know. We'll see on how that momentum kicks out, because again, this is going to be very heavily tied to what the news cycle is going to be saying there. But insane in the membrane. Looks like the NASDAQ is up nearly 0.5% still. That's good. Let's see if that can kind of maintain that. Glad that it's not going to be a crazy. Again, it can be red tomorrow morning. Like, I'm not saying it has to. It's going to be green all night. It's going to be rainbows and butterflies here, but just looking for some kind of slowing down, more of a consolidation period, rather than this very up down teeter-totter aggressive actions that we have been seeing the past couple of weeks. Especially the last 5 weeks have been very, very volatile to basically everyone's portfolio that had stock going into the market there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys got any more comments, questions, or concerns, please give me a post in the chat. If not, I want to be calling it a night, and I will see you guys probably next week if I'm able to do so. I know I'm doing it a little bit earlier than normal, but this is the only way it kind of works out with scheduling with family stuff, dinner, and that kind of stuff. But on that note, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Ping me in Discord if you got any questions, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.